Hello and welcome back. Today we're looking at political commentary by Nuxanor. It's a reaction video covering Tim Walz, Don Lemon, and the intersection of activism and religion.
Yeah, it's a very high-energy piece. I mean, it's frantic, it's definitely loud, and it's trying to do a lot.
It is. Okay, so let's jump right in. The first major thing that stands out is a real clash of tones.
Oh, absolutely.
The material is trying to build up this serious, almost theological argument about biblical justice, but it just keeps getting undermined by, well, the language he uses.
It's more than undermined. I think it's completely collapsed by it. This was the most jarring thing for me.
How so?
Well, you have a creator who's setting himself up as a defender of, moral backbones and biblical truth. He's literally reading from 1 Samuel and Joshua.
Right, heavy-duty stuff. Divine retribution, God's law.
Exactly. And yet the vocabulary he uses to defend that high ground is just so low.
Yeah, let's get into the specifics. He's reading from scripture about the Amalekites, about the destruction of Jericho. He's setting this very, very serious stage.
Invoking the wrath of God, essentially.
And then, just moments later, he's calling a woman a fat, retarded lesbian or making jokes about P. Diddy.
And it creates this incredible tonal whiplash. It's like a preacher giving a eulogy who suddenly starts telling dirty jokes. It doesn't just distract from the point. I think it actually invalidates the authority he was trying to claim.
Let's drill down on that ICE confrontation part. So he's critiquing this woman who is filming herself confronting officers.
And he calls for a fat, retarded lesbian. A bitch, says she committed suicide by cop.
And that's the weakness right there. By focusing on these really basic physical insults, isn't he missing a huge tactical opportunity?
He is. The whole point is supposed to be that these people are legally and morally wrong. But when you just jump to schoolyard taunts, you completely give up the maturity that those biblical texts are supposed to give you.
It feels like the difference between a heckler and a surgeon.
That's a great way to put it. The heckler just shouts, "You're fat," and you can ignore him. The surgeon looks at you and gives you a precise diagnosis of your problem.
And that's terrifying because it's based in reality.
Right, and Nuxanor has the material to be the surgeon here, but he's choosing to be the heckler.
It gives the audience an off-ramp.
Exactly the word. It's an off-ramp. If I'm a neutral viewer and I hear that language, I don't have to engage with his argument at all. I can just say, this guy's a jerk, and I'm out. He's handing his opponents a shield.
Okay, so the suggestion is pretty clear then. He needs to align the sophistication of his commentary with the seriousness of the argument he's trying to make.
Yes, attack the behavior or the logic, not the person.
So for that woman at the ICE facility, instead of the slurs,
diagnose what she's actually doing. I mean, she clearly thinks she's the hero of a movie. She's got this main character syndrome.
So you call her a performative narcissist?
Or you say she's suffering from ideological capture. That's a much more cutting critique because it's an observation about her worldview. You can't really defend against that as easily as you can an insult.
It's a better attack, really. And the same for Tim Walz?
I think so. He just calls him a liar and retard over and over. But what is Walz actually doing in that?
He's dodging. It's that part where he is asked about the ICE as Gestapo comparison.
Right. He's equivocating. So instead of yelling liar, just break it down. Show the audience how he's lying. Say, watch this. Watch how he twists the definition here to avoid the question.
That proves he's being dishonest.
It proves it, yeah. Calling him a name just proves that you're angry.
And then for the Bible verses, just let them have some weight.
Yes. If you're going to quote Hosea about reaping the whirlwind, you can't immediately follow it with a joke about blue retard news. Let the scripture be dangerous. Don't wrap it in bubble wrap.
Okay, let's move on to the second point. This is more about the mechanics of a reaction video. Clip utilization and pacing.
This is a really common problem in the whole genre. And it's definitely happening here.
It feels like the main weakness is just a lack of patience. The commentary keeps overriding the source material right at the most damning moments.
It's so strange because you can tell he despises these people, like Don Lemon and Tim Walz, and he wants to expose them.
But he keeps jumping in and saving them from themselves.
He does, especially from their own silence.
Let's look at that Don Lemon segment. Lemon is making that absurd defense about being on church property because it was an act of journalism.
And the host just keeps pausing, talking over him, saying he's scared or he's going to jail.
But the absurdity is in what Lemon is saying, if you just let him say.
You don't have to add anything. By jumping in every 3 seconds, he's stepping on his own punchline. It's like a comedian explaining a joke before he's even finished the setup.
So the suggestion is basically a give them enough rope strategy.
Exactly. Trust your audience to see the crazy. You don't have to point it out every single second.
Let the clips play out a bit longer.
Let them establish their own ridiculous position, and then you come in and dismantle it.
The Tim Walz clip is the absolute perfect example of this.
Oh, yeah.
He gets asked that direct yes or no question about the Holocaust comparison, and he just freezes. He completely short-circuits.
He does. He stammers, he looks lost. But in the video, we don't really get to experience that because the host is talking over it, saying Walz is drowning in his own saliva.
But what if he just let it play? That silence is the weapon.
It's so much more powerful. Just imagine watching a potential vice president just staring, sweating, completely unable to answer. That visual is devastating, but Nuxanor pops the balloon by filling that silence with his own voice.
So the actionable advice is just hold back. Let that silence hang in the air.
I'd say let it hang for 4, maybe 5 seconds. Make the audience feel that awkwardness. Make them feel the sweat on his forehead.
And then you jump in.
And then you come in and say something like, that silence? That's the sound of a man who knows he's caught. That lands like a sledgehammer. But you have to earn it with the silence first.
It's the same thing with the pastor in the Don Lemon segment, isn't it? The pastor is calm, he's reasonable.
And Lemon is agitated and aggressive. It's a perfect contrast. Calm pastor versus agitated reporter.
But by yelling over it, the host adds his own aggression to the mix.
Right, so it becomes calm pastor versus agitated reporter versus yelling YouTuber. It just muddies the water.
It dilutes the evidence.
Exactly. If you just shut up for 30 seconds, the pastor looks like a saint and Lemon looks like a bully. You don't need to tell us. Just show us.
Okay, let's move to our third and final critique. This one is about thematic cohesion and who this video is even for.
Yeah, the structural whiplash.
It oscillates so wildly between two completely different genres.
You have internet culture reaction video on one hand.
And fire and brimstone sermon on the other.
The video opens up with this, subscribe for memes energy, lots of fast cuts, jokes about blue retards. It signals to the audience, turn your brain off, let's laugh at some idiots.
But then, with zero transition, we are deep in Deuteronomy, talking about the destruction of the Canaanites.
The Amalekites. Yeah, divine instruction to wipe out your enemies. It's a massive gear shift. It's like going to a comedy club and the headliner is a Puritan preacher.
And the risk here seems pretty obvious. The meme audience is going to check out when the sermon starts.
And the religious audience, who might actually agree with the theology, they're probably already turned off by the vulgarity and the jokes from the first half.
So he's serving two different masters and alienating both.
The transition just isn't there.
So the suggestion here is to build a stronger narrative bridge. We need to connect the internet culture part to the religious part.
Make it feel like one coherent thought.
Right. Frame the biblical texts as the ultimate, red pill or the ultimate reality check that actually explains the modern stuff he's reacting to.
He uses the term NPCs, non-player characters, to describe the people he's criticized.
That's the bridge. That's it, right there.
Exactly. Frame the whole Amalekites argument not just as a random Bible verse, but as the original instruction manual for dealing with NPC programs.
That's a brilliant way to reframe it. You could say something like, you all think NPCs are a new thing from video games? Let me show you the patch notes from 3,000 years ago.
Yes. You say, in these ancient texts, these groups were seen as people who had completely given themselves over to a corrupt program. They weren't operating on morality. They were just running a script of evil. And this is how the ancients were told to delete that code.
Suddenly, Deuteronomy isn't a sermon anymore. It's lore. It's deep lore for the human condition.
It turns the Bible into the ultimate strategy guide that keeps the gamer audience engaged because you're using their language, but you're elevating the idea to something much bigger.
And you could do the same thing with the legal analysis, right? The FACE Act.
The Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, yeah. He mentions it, but he treats it as something totally separate from the religious part.
But they're the same argument. The FACE Act is a secular law about protecting a physical space, like a church.
And the biblical concept is sanctuary.
So just tie them together.
Right. You show how the secular law is just a shadow of the divine law. You say, even the federal government gets it. You can't violate the sanctuary. It connects everything.
It makes the whole video feel like one single powerful argument, instead of two different videos stitched together.
It's more intellectual work for sure, but it transforms the video from just a reaction compilation into a real theological political essay. It elevates the whole thing.
Frankly, if you're going to invoke God's wrath, Your argument better have a structure that can support that kind of weight.
Well said. You can't put that on a foundation of your mom jokes.
Okay, so let's recap the actionable takeaways here.
Right. Number 1, tonal alignment. You can't preach divine justice with the vocabulary of a schoolyard bully.
The suggestion is to elevate the insults. Don't call them fat, diagnose them. Call them performative narcissists. Attack their logic. Be the surgeon, not the heckler.
Number 2, pacing and clip utilization. Stop saving your enemies from their own silence.
Yeah, use that give them enough rope strategy. Let Tim Walz sweat. Let Don Lemon rant. Let the silence do the heavy lifting for you. Then you deliver the commentary.
And finally, number 3, thematic cohesion. Build the bridge between the memes and the Bible.
Use concepts the audience already knows, like NPCs, to frame the scripture. Make it feel like ancient lore that explains the modern world. Connect the legal and the theological.
It's really about taking all that raw energy he has, and he has a ton of it, and focusing it, like a laser instead of a shotgun.
Exactly. Nuxanor, you've got a powerful voice. The goal here is to refine the delivery so the train wreck is squarely on the side of your subjects and not in the structure of the video itself.
I would love to see a version of this where he just trusts his own audience a little more, where he can be quiet for 10 seconds. That would be something else.
We invite you to submit your next video. We'd love to see how it evolves. For everyone else, thanks for listening. Keep creating, keep improving, and we'll see you next time.